Okay, good morning. We're so happy that you are joining us for our Mental Toughness Monday and also a little bit of time with the emotional properties of the essential oil. Cassia is the one we're using. Some people call it Cassia, either way you want to say it, it's fine. It's the oil of self-assurance. Cassia brings gladness and courage to the heart and soul. It's a wonderful remedy for the shy and timid. It helps those who hold back, who try to hide. When a person avoids being in the center of attention, Cassia can restore their confidence. Similar to cinnamon, Cassia dispels fear and replaces it with self-assurance. It challenges individuals to try even when they're afraid of making mistakes. Cassia aids those who feel foolish by helping them to see their own brilliance. It supports the soul in seeing its own value and potential. Cassia assists individuals in discovering their innate gifts and talents and invites them to let their light shine and live from their true self. Okay, so this one is a hot oil, so be careful with it. But you can inhale it straight from the bottle. It could be strong, it might make you sneeze. You can also put it in your hands and breathe it. But if you do that, don't touch your eyes. Careful with it. And or use a carrier oil to apply. You can apply it over your upper stomach, your solar plexus, which is your power center, or on the bottoms of your feet. And again, it's a little bit hot, so be careful with it. And you can also take a couple of drops under your tongue or in some water. So if I don't trip it down my face, oh, I can't even get it to come out of the bottle. So, and it's a full
Mixing it
bottle.
up.
So I'm putting some in my water because I'm scared of dripping it down my face.
Yeah, Mary, that's pretty powerful under the tongue.
Okay. There you go.
What
Okay.
all is it?
It's like chewing on one of those cinnamon toothpicks.
Right?
There you go.
We haven't put
Oh,
it.
I bet you could dip toothpicks in it and make your own.
There you go. I haven't put it under my tongue. Was that spicier? Under?
Um, I had some on, under.
All over.
It's all good.
I've got stories for Cassia. We ready for that?
Yes, let's hear some stories.
So let's see. This would have been, holy cow, like 9 years ago. We had just started our theater in St. George, and it was a little stressful. So we're part owners, and I don't know how many performances in it. We after starting it, I was standing at our treat counter next to one of our employees, and I just was like, I smell myself. Ew. So I turned to my employee and I said, "Can you smell me?" And this was a guy, and he was like, "Yeah, I can." Oh, I just kind of cringed and like, oh, yuck, seriously? No, I've got all my oils. How am I like smelly and blah? So that day I went home and I looked up what oils are good for fear and can help with fear. Cassia came up and birch. And I looked up what body odor, what the emotional pieces behind body odor could be, and it was fear of people. And
Oh,
so, like, think about that when if our body's helping us out to have to push away things that we're afraid of, we're going to omit, like, think of Pigpen on peanuts. We're going to omit some body
Emit.
odor that will help push them away, right?
Yep.
So I made up a roller and I put cassia and birch in this roller and I rolled it on the bottoms of my feet. I think I might have done like 5, maybe 10 drops of each in a 5 ml. And I rolled that on the bottoms of my feet night and morning. And 3 days later, it like there was no BO. And I was hugging my husband and I said, "Can you smell me?" And he said, no, I can't. And I'm like, oh, you could before then, huh? Said, yep. But so it worked. Like I continued to use that for a long time. And now still, like every so often, I'll go back to it. It works so good. And I was afraid to tell people about it because they couldn't buy birch.
Ah, but now,
But now, yeah. So put the two together. It's like Wonderland.
also, I just added birch to my water, which technically you're not supposed to eat birch, but
Well, it
oh,
makes
my
really good cinnamon
birch
water.
food. Yes.
So
All
anyway,
right.
that's my
Awesome. I love that. The negative emotions it addresses is embarrassed, hiding, fearful, humiliated, insecure, judged, shy, and worthless. And it brings out positive properties of courageous, self-assured, self-confident, unashamed, confident, valued, and authentic. So there you go.
Well, I find that interesting that she was in theater and was
Yeah.
afraid of people.
Right?
I wasn't on the stage. However, I know lots of theater people that still have VO. Like, think about it. Like, any of us are gonna have stories around things, and so a lot of people just push through it, right? We talk about that all the time with our mental toughness. They just push through it.
Yep. I love it. And as actors, right? That's what they do, right? They act. And so, really good. Okay. Any other thoughts about Cassia before we move on to mental toughness this morning? All right. Thank you, Mary, for sharing that. That was a great story. And I do love the taste of cassia. It's so good in your water, or if you want to make a sipper with it, it's delicious. If you just have it plain, it's so sweet all by itself. It's just yummy.
You can add it to butter to put on your toast. It's
butter,
really good.
cinnamon butter, right? Oh, yum. That sounds really good. Okay, and let's see. Are we on 76? The great ones
Yes.
operate with integrity.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So the quote is from Warren Buffett, the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. He says, in looking for people to hire, you look for three qualities: integrity, intelligence, and energy. If they don't have the first, the other two will kill you. There you go. If they're smart and energetic, but not filled with integrity, you're gonna have a problem. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's see. While operating from a mindset of fear and scarcity, average people tend to view integrity as a luxury they hope to be able to keep. In their effort to survive in a world they believe is out to get them, integrity often gets left behind. Pros have the advantages of operating from love and abundance, which dictates that integrity be the baseline of every action taken. Champions have a reputation for total integrity. It is the foundation of their entry into any playing field. The great ones are always welcomed. Their coworkers, colleagues, and contacts know that when push comes to shove, champions will always do the right thing. Integrity is a habit of the pros, not because it succeeds, but because it's the right thing to do. When a champion tells you he's willing to do something, you can take it to the bank. Their handshake is a binding contract. Contrary to what they teach in business school, handshake deals are still very common among the world class. The great ones play by different rules, and rule number one is total integrity. Okay, what are your thoughts?
I think this is just one that that's ingrained in me. I think my parents taught me this. And when I act without integrity, it just doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel right.
Eats you up. Yeah, no, that's true.
I like what it says in the action step. Do every single thing you promised yourself and others.
Yes.
And I think we let ourselves down the most. I do.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
there's a
Good
thought. Yeah.
Great idea. Great idea. Oh, I couldn't get it done. I just was too slow or something.
Huh.
Well, and I like how you said that too, Brenda. You said it just eats us up. It'll eat us up from the inside to the out. And then it just, oh, yeah.
I usually can't keep it straight if I try to not be in integrity. I can't remember. The truth is way easier to remember.
Absolutely.
That's what they
But
say about liars. They can't remember what they already told you, and so you already can trap them up in their own words, you know.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
interesting thought, Kathy. So I probably have less integrity with myself than I do with others. Hmm.
Maybe you
Interesting.
to a point of harm. You overdo everyone else and don't leave time for yourself,
Huh.
or you don't guard, you know, what could be your
I think this is a really, really good point. And can you really have integrity with others if you're not being in integrity with yourself?
Oh, well, now there you go.
Ouch, right? I mean, you could keep your promises to them, but like, is it really like, are you being true or are you just sacrificing yourself? You know, because I'm not saying that it's wrong to put others before you, but I do think that instead of like, there's a way definitely to do both. And I think that the long term, I think of this with doTERRA because like the long term, in order to be a long term legacy company, they had to look at what they were doing and say, where can we strengthen or shore up or be in more integrity with what we're doing so that it will last longer for everyone. And that's why we're seeing these changes that are coming next month in our compensation plan. And has it pushed any of you like it's pushed me to look at things more intentionally?
Mhm.
To look at and just be like, oh, I gotta get, pull myself together here. But I do think it's powerful to consider that. And when you in your own personal world and in my world, am I looking at a legacy type, am I leading a legacy type life? Am I going to be able to leave a legacy, or am I just gonna, just be drop down, drop dead at the end and be like completely wasted? And I do think we should give, all of the like live our full life to the fullest. So I'm not suggesting that we, hold back in that way, but like in what ways are we not taking care of ourselves and instead favoring taking care of others? Or does taking care of others allow us to distract ourselves from the issues that we need to face for ourselves?
Wow.
Right.
Not because I know.
uh, there are seasons of life too. I have a friend who's a little mother who has probably the least time of any mother in the world because she has Irish twins and then she has infant twins. She has twins like 3 and 2, which by the way, she got potty trained really early. They don't use diapers. And then the two infants, of course, are she's constantly nursing them. Sometimes she just nurses them both at the same time. She'll just build them into her lap and sit there, let them have and they are such content babies. I said, you must have the most potent milk of any mother on earth. However, she's so darn busy with that little family. It's a season for her,
Yeah.
She's also a concert pianist or some kind of trained professional pianist. And she plays the organ sometimes. I mean, she runs to the church 15 till to play the prelude with her breakfast in her hand and her husband had to bring the babies. He got there right when the first song started. I said, oh, good man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yes. And I hope that what I said about taking care of others instead of taking care of yourselves doesn't make
It
you
doesn't
think you
mean your
couldn't
children.
ever do that, because I think that, I mean, when you are when you are continuing the species, right, there's a lot of work involved in making sure that those little people make it from infancy into, where they're self-sustaining. There's a ton of work in that. And I do think that that is part of being in integrity with yourself, is like when you're in a season of that you're focused on what you need to focus on. And I think that that's true for every season, is just like take whatever the season that you're in, focus on what it is that is your priority, and the thing that builds you as a legacy person, so to speak. The older we get, the more we can see. I was talking to Tim last night about how a lot of women, and I have considered this heavily over the years, but a lot of women, their kids will grow up, or they'll go to school or whatever, and then they'll go and take a job. They were able to be home with their kids, but then they're busy, they're working. And I was talking to a friend of mine who went back to school and got her CPA, and she took a job with a big firm and was making a bunch of money and stuff. And her kids asked her, they said, "Mom, can you work less? Because when you come, we don't want you just sitting in the back bedroom because you have to work." And so she ended up just working for 1 year after putting all that money into finishing her degree there, because her children and her grandchildren, she felt like she wanted to be more present for them. And so she's, taking a look at a different, she's like, I want to do things differently. Like, what's the point of giving all this time and energy into like making sure that we're more financially secure? We're financially secure enough, and I really want my children and grandchildren to know me. And so I think that that is something to really, really consider. And I've thought a lot about the blessings of doTERRA because it gives us that, right? We get that freedom to be able to spend the time where we want to spend it, and go and be a part of the things that we want to be a part of. So anyway, powerful.
Good plan. And that is an interesting conundrum that she got herself into.
Yeah, right. Because you think you have like all this time, and you do, but then they don't give you unlimited vacations. They don't give you I mean,
Makes everything complicated to have.
it makes everything more complicated. That's right. Okay, action step for today, just for today. Operate with complete integrity. Do every single thing you promise yourself and others. Experience what it's like to operate like one of the great ones. A word of caution: you may become addicted to the results you achieve through this experience. So I think that for this group, at least those that are live and have commented, the most important part of that is doing all the things that we promise ourselves that we'll do. Now, I have to tell you that one of the parenting classes that I took years ago talked about how if you are saying things to your kids and then that you don't follow through with the thing that you said, like if you're making a threat, or even if you're saying, "Hey, when we get done with this, we'll go swimming," or whatever, but then you don't, then you're out of integrity. And even if you did not intentionally lie, you are the result is the same for your child. They believe that you said something, and then they can't trust your word. And it really made me think at the time that, if I was going to, make a threat of any kind, of just like, get this done or else, blah, blah, whatever, I needed to make sure that I was threatening things that I was willing to follow through with, and that weren't illegal. Right.
Right.
And this is really, really the truth. So even if you're promising yourself something, maybe spend some time looking at it and being like, okay, what am I actually going to do? And some people make lists of like all the things that they're trying to get done, and then prioritize the ones that they're, gonna do first. And some people make like do or die commitment lists, right? And so whichever way you are, just make sure that you understand your intention in writing down the things, or saying to yourself the things that you are going to get done today, so that you can go to bed with a clear conscience. If you are laying in bed thinking of all the things you didn't get done because you promised yourself you were going to, and then you didn't, then that's not a good thing. But if you're participating in the 4-week win, and you have 3 things that are like the most important things that you're going to get done today, and you go to bed and you had like 400 things on your list, like I do all the time, you can lay in bed and know that those 3 things that you committed to do that you did, you can feel good about that. And you can leave the other 397 for tomorrow or the rest of the week or whatever, right? But this is a good mental health practice to be in integrity with yourself and also to be in integrity with yourself. So not only doing what you say that you're going to do, but also not allowing yourself to be mad at yourself for not finishing things that you thought you might get to. So that you have both sides of that, that you're being honest on both sides. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just get know that we're never going to get a whole long arm length list done, but there are some things you want to get done at some point. And some people make a strategy of getting the list and starting a project page, and then they gather materials for that project page. Yeah. Oh, good for you. It's nice you can write that much, but can you live that fast?
Well, and this is for the whole month of May, and I am making some progress. You can see there are a few things that are checked off, and I have some more to check off because I did some stuff, but
You're
but
right.
yeah,
Looking at it as an idea box is much better than saying, "Oh, I'm such a brat because I didn't do it," or "I'm
right,
such a
right,
failure." We don't need that kind of feedback.
right. Good morning, Camille.
Morning.
Wake up.
I was gonna say, and I don't think it's a problem how long your list is, um, because like you said, it's the time frame that you put on it. And I was gonna say sometimes it's easier to dump everything out of your brain. I know,
Yes.
I do this, and Craig does this. Like these are all the tasks that need to get completed, but there's not like a specific like I have to do this today. It's like these are things that need to get done over the next few weeks, even. So, but it helps you to have a list to work from.
Yeah. Yep. And the thing is too, is because I have mine on this big giant list, then I can look at it each day and be like, okay, I'm going to do these 3 or whatever today, or I'm going to do this much this morning, and then I'm going to get back out. If I can, I'm going to get back out tonight and do a couple more. And then you just like, tick it off. But I do like the whole like brain dump um idea. And this is one project. I mean, it's several projects, but it is just like all of my outdoor world, the stuff that I want to get done so that I can enjoy the summer. And so it's like a spring list, right? Of just getting a bunch of things done that need doing. So to make everything just beautiful and ready for the enjoyment of summer. So
Yeah, and I
anyway,
do like the thought, just the idea of like the integrity piece too. Just touching back on that is for me, when I started getting more in alignment with being true to um what I said I was gonna do, it just brought a lot everything calmed down in my mind and in my space because it was like I don't have to do anything that I didn't agree to. And so I didn't have all that constant chatter in the back of my head about um what I had thought I was going to do or said I was going to do. And so anyway, so that's a huge piece for me that just helped me to calm down the crazy voices.
yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that.
That's crazy.
I don't have to do anything I haven't agreed to do. That's really good.
And it's the crazy making voices that discourage us.
Right. Right. Awesome. Okay. Any other thoughts before we wrap this part of our call up? All right. Thank you for being here. And if you're catching us on the replay, go ahead and comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts about operating in integrity or any of your stories about Cassia. Have a great day.